Jai Jai Ram.
Shri Ram Jai Ram 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 Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om. Shiridamma, one of the oldest sevak of this ashram, mother of our Kalavati in canteen. She was called by Papa this morning. She was ailing for some time. We pray for Papa's blessings on the dear departed soul for eternal rest and peace at his lotus feet. Hari Om. Only yesterday we were made to remember the world of vanishing forms, Every death that is happening in and around us reminds us of the transient nature of the body. In Papa's quotation, one of the quotations, the world we live in is a school in which observation and experience offer us immense possibilities for self-improvement. Nay, the world itself is Guru or God. There is a transient nature. Though transient, we have to do whatever is assigned to us till He calls us, But at the same time, we should know that everything is ephemeral, nothing is eternal, only He is eternal. The why and wherefore we don't know. We have been asked to play the role. Every time we have to keep on reminding us. Otherwise we may also be caught in the coils of individualism. So yesterday is the first article, so today we will take up the first chapter. First we will read out the chapter. Many of us have gone many a times. But again we will try and see what are the hints, what are the points that have been unearthed during our in-depth study, deep in-depth study. For nearly a year, Ramdas struggled on in a world full of chaos, anxieties and pains. It was a period of terrible stress and restlessness, all of his own making. And viewing from the individual standpoint, these are all valid. In this utterly helpless condition, full of misery, where is relief, where is rest? This was the heart's cry of Ramdas. The cry was heard. And from the great void came the voice, despair not, trust me, and thou shalt be free. And this was the voice of Ram. From this, he starts only addressing as Ram. These encouraging words of Ram proved like a plank thrown towards a man struggling for the very life in the stormy waves of a raging sea. This great assurance soothed the aching heart of helpless Ramdas, like gentle rain on thirsting earth. Thenceforward, a part of the time that was formerly totally devoted to worldly affairs was taken up for the meditation of Ram, who for that period gave him real peace and relief. Gradually, love for Ram, the giver of peace, increased. The more Ramdas meditated on and uttered his name, the greater the relief and joy he felt. Nights, which are free from worldly duties, were in course of time utilized for Ram Bhajan, with scarcely 1 or 2 hours rest. His devotion for Ram progressed by leaps and bounds. During the day, when cares and anxieties were besetting him due to monetary and other troubles, Ram was coming to his aid in unexpected ways. So whenever free from worldly duties, be the period ever so small, he would meditate on Ram and utter his name. Walking in the streets, he would be uttering Ram, Ram, Ram. Ramdas was now losing attraction for the objects of the world. Sleep, except for 1 or 2 hours in the night, was given up for the sake of Ram. Fineries in clothes and dress were replaced by coarse khadar. Bed was substituted by a bare mat. Food first 2 meals were reduced to 1 meal a day. And after some time, this too was given up for plantains and boiled potatoes. Chilies and salt were totally eschewed. No taste but for Ram. Meditation of Ram continued apace. It encroached upon the hours of the day and the so-called worldly duties. At this stage one day, Ramdas's father came to him, sent by Ram, and calling him aside, gave him the Upadesh of Ramamantram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, assuring him that if he repeated this mantra at all times, Ram would give him eternal happiness. This initiation from the father, who has thereafter been looked upon by Ramdas as Gurudev, hastened on the aspirant in his spiritual progress. Off and on, he was prompted by Ram to read the teachings of Sri Krishna, the Bhagavad Gita, Buddha, Light of Asia, Jesus Christ, New Testament, Mahatma Gandhi, Young India and Ethical Religion. The young plant of bhakti in Ram was thus nurtured in the electric atmosphere created by the influence of these great men on the mind of humble Ramdas. It was at this time that it slowly dawned upon his mind that Ram was the only reality and all else was false. While desires for the enjoyment of worldly things were fast falling off, consideration of me and mine was also wearing out. The sense of possession and relationship was vanishing. All thought, all mind, all heart, all soul was concentrated on Ram, Ram covering up, absorbing everything. Thus ends the first chapter. So when we started reading, rereading, and again going through, some hints were brought out. First thing, utter helplessness leads to intense prayer from the bottom of the heart. We all pray, but we don't pray from the bottom of the heart. So that can be done only when I feel I have exhausted all resources. If I have some resource, my prayer will be only lip level. But when I know I have exhausted everything and I find nothing before me, no relief before me, no way out for me, then what comes out of me is the prayer from the bottom of the heart. That was what first Papa teaches us first. Even a small portion of ego is there, which will think that it can solve the problem by itself. God will not step into it. He allows the ego, which has been given by Him only, to have its play. We have to do a lot of thinking about it. Utter helplessness leads to intense prayer from the bottom of the heart. Our priority should be entirely shifted now. So when we keep on thinking about it, why is it that my prayers are not heard? How do I know that the prayer has been heard? These are some of the things which we have to keep on plumbing deep again. All my prayers and all my spiritual activities or sadhana are not coming from the depth. So exclusiveness, shifting of priority, exhausting all resources, we can interpret in any way. If everyone can look at oneself and see which are the areas to improve. Second, prayers are answered intuitively from the core of our being, the great void. Prayers are answered intuitively. It may not be known by other people, but it will be very clear to us. When Gandhiji was asked about this inner voice, he calls it as inner voice. Somewhere he has written, I am more surer of the truth than the fact that you and I are sitting in this room. That much clarity he had. So Papa also had. This is another point on which we have to pray to him deeply. Why don't you make me feel that my prayers are heard by you? What are the things that you want me to do? Third one, great void, a synonym of Ram, stands for the all-enveloping reality, which remains ever untouched, unaffected by the different characteristics that separate one form from the rest. Great void. This is the third point on which we have to keep on. Mataji used to say, Kali Swarup. We have heard many times, we have repeated many times, but are we moving nearer to that reality? Each one has to think. Great void, a synonym of Ram, stands for the all-enveloping reality. That is why Puja Mataji always says, it is like the space where everything is accommodated. Easy for us to understand. In the space, everything is accommodated. Noble acts are done, deplorable acts are done. Positive activities are going, negative activities are going. But still it remains untouched and unaffected. Something for all of us to dwell deeply. Great void. Go to the source of everything. This is another point. When we know we are trying to understand great void, that means all of us who consider ourselves to be individuals at this moment, we all owe our origin to that. So that is why he says, go to the origin of your and the world life. Intense faith leads to trust. Faith is, normally all of us have faith, belief. But if the intensity is not there, we will not trust him. That is why even after praying, even after we still keep on planning and safeguarding us, So there is a difference between faith and trust. So he said, trust me, we shall be free. Trust me means handing over everything, lock, stock and barrel to him. Whether I have been able to do that. Mostly our answer will be no, because the me and mind still feels it can plan, it can sort out, it can handle situations at its own level. So trust. Then preparatory steps: fixed resolve, sustained faith, optimistic outlook, self-denial, and satsang through swadhyaya. These are all the preparatory steps we have seen in the first chapter. Fixed resolve, nothing could shake him, no? And sustained faith. When his father gave him the Upadesh, unshakable faith he had. And to cement it further, he was also going through various words of wisdom by Mahatmas. So, fixed resolve, sustained faith, optimistic outlook, self-denial. We have seen how the tapering was going on. From the dress to the food. So that maximum mind space can be set apart for him. Otherwise, each and every comfort zone, occupies the mind space, and whenever suppose the fan stops, immediately I will look at it. Because it has occupied my mind space. And I feel disturbed when it is not there. So, dispassion or vairagya stands for what? We try to understand. It is not by external renunciation, no, external denial. But suppose we want to spend more time, we want more space for God remembrance. These are all the disturbing factors that prevent us from maintaining God remembrance. Comfort zones. So self-denial. Nobody asks us to do it. It is purely a self-denial. And then satsang through swadhyaya. Then code of conduct, simple living habits to gain more mind space for God remembrance. That's what we explained. Then introspection to know whether the me and mine sense of possession is reducing. That is the litmus test. Papa is gently pointing out, you may be doing all these things, but check up whether the me and mine is reducing. The last line. Last line he says, while desires for the enjoyment of worldly things were fast falling off, the consideration of me and mine was also wearing out. The sense of possession and relationship was vanishing. So this evaluation, no? Evaluation of our own. So introspection to know whether the me and mine sense of possession is reducing. And very important one, remember him, be the period ever so small. 9 points. Now leaving the text, some of the essence which we have taken out, let us try to remember it. No? What are they? Just like yesterday we tried what is the sustaining power, what is selflessness, what is self-effacement, what is truth, what is love, what is perfection. Today also we will try, just for the sake of our own sadhana. Otherwise it becomes a reading session or a talking session. It doesn't become a sadhana by itself. So what are the points?
Utter helplessness.
Utter helplessness leads
Utter
to
helplessness.
prayer from the bottom of the heart.
Not mere helplessness, utter helplessness.
Intense faith to trust.
Intense faith to trust.
Intense faith leads to trust. We remember one incident we have shared before, but again we will, for the sake of newcomers. There is a place called Tellicherry, between Kannur and Calicut. There is a temple devoted to Lord Rama. There is a form of Anjaneya also, Hanumanji. People have intense faith. When it was their Utsav time, yearly Utsav, celebration time. So a lot of people have gathered, innumerable. The area is full. And the Nama was going on. In front of any temple, there will be a flag post, It will be like a, pillar, round shape. You cannot hold. One great bhakta, when he was chanting, suddenly he was prompted to climb. It was very difficult, it is slippery, but he was able to climb. He did not know, body consciousness was not there. And when he reaches the top, suddenly, for a few seconds, the body consciousness, how will I? Where am I now? But his faith got transformed into trust. So when he prayed from the bottom of the heart, everyone saw he lost his hold on the flag post and he was floating and came to the floor. He was not conscious at that time. After some time, when he was back to consciousness, he was asked what happened. You know what he said? Lord Anjaneya brought the whole sea, ocean, up to that level and asked him to place himself there. And then the water level was coming down. Then only we understand what is faith. No? It is not a story. 3-4 decades back it had happened. When we were in Wayanad, this was told to us. Thiruvannur, Sri Ramakshetram. So the faith, how does the faith enables us to graduate into trust? And trust means then he takes care. Very difficult for us because even the last vestige of me and mine should not be there, Otherwise it will say, you will fall down, you will die, you will get fractured, all those things will be there. Papa also mentioned in one of his articles, sannyasa is like what? Climbing up the tree and then just fall. Sadhana is climbing up and then leave everything to him. Even the last vestige of the me and mine will be absent. This is a very important point. Faith and trust. Yes, then?
Sense of possession and relation. Sense of possession and relation was there.
Sense of relationship and possession. We keep on thinking about it, Possession has got its own way of binding us, however much we try. Tough job. To possess and at the same time free from possessiveness, it is one of the toughest jobs. And even if we have minimum possession, it will be a concentrated possessiveness. And relationship. The mind on one side will keep on, justifying the relationship with the relations and the possession. After all, you are doing it for somebody else only. After all, you are taking care of others. All those things will come. But when God thought predominates, and when we know that we owe our origin to Him, does He not know how to take care, how to provide, when to provide, where to provide? These are some of the ways by which, we try to free ourselves from the sense of possession. Only by thinking that He gave me a human birth. He assigned me with certain job to be done through this body, mind, intellect equipment. So He will know what is to be given to us at what time. Very difficult, but this is how Papa was able to do it. Of course, for that he had to do, because he was a family man, a professional man, a social person. So it took some time for him, but in the shortest time, 2 years' time, he was able to free himself from the prisons, conceptual prisons. Very important point. We have to keep on thinking, Suppose we go back to our room and find out suppose we count what are the possessions we have now and what is our relationship with that possession. Whether parting with it or whether it's not seen, we must search, we must find out where everything. But beyond certain time when it is not there, or probably he wills that it should be taken by some or its form, or the air would have taken, breeze would have taken, or something like that, no? So we have to see for ourselves, otherwise it is only academic, theory. And relationship, not that I don't love our relationship with the relations, but at the same time, whether I'm in a position to give the same sort of approach to everybody. Because hatred does not come, detachment does not mean there may be disconnection. Detachment does not mean everybody is not loved. Everybody is there. Previously, Papa used to define that previously Ramdas was identifying with a small family, and now he is identifying with a bigger family in which the small family is also there. Relationship and possession. We have to keep on thinking, we have to keep on, not merely thinking, contemplating, absorbing, assimilating, and relating ourselves to the objects and the persons. What is our relationship with everybody? When Mataji was freed from everything, still she had the attachment towards Papa's form. So Papa had to be very strict to release her from that bondage. So she was asked to move away from Kasaragod ashram and then stay in Rame's house. And that was the most testing time for Mataji. And from where she wrote after. When she wrote like this, you can sit this side. When she wrote that unless and until Krishnabai feels the presence of Ramdas in her heart, she will not see you. In the sense, Papa always keeps on telling, don't be guided by the form, guided by the spirit, the indwelling spirit within every form. So don't try to concentrate on the form of Ramdas. Try to do the indwelling spirit. Then only Mataji was able to say Nirguna Nirakara Shashvata Ananda Swarup. So she said she would spend her nights in mountains. She will not take food. When that letter came, Papa said, come back. This was what he wanted. Attachment to anything, that also had to be cut. Only attachment. Reverence, seva, everything remains intact outwardly. Surrender, dedication, everything is there. But attachment is not there. You have to do a lot of thinking on each and everything. So we take a list. What is our bonding with our relations? What is our bonding with our possession? Yes, then?
Simplicity.
Simple living.
Sustained faith, optimistic outlook.
We have to keep on thinking whether I am, in spite of hearing, in spite of doing it, have I simplified my life? Outwardly, something is needed, okay, but inwardly, whether that simple living habit has taken place in me. If we go more and more towards it, we will find contentment, not demanding anything. As far as possible, if facing oneself, no special, not expecting anything that is special for him or her. Think innocent, that would be say innocent. Simple living habits you can take, innocent. So nothing will dominate us, nothing will pull us out. Anapeksha. So to the extent possible, now we are looking at ourselves. Is our life crowded with so many of the things that are not actually needed, or is it in a position to confine itself to the basic needs and requirement of the body? Each and every point we have to see for ourselves, then only it becomes, otherwise, textual. This is not what is expected of us by Papa. Whatever is offered is accepted. Simple living habits leads us to that state. Then,
instead of using the term void, you use the term Ram at a certain point.
Instead of using the word great void, uses the word Ram.
It's very important. Because once he mentioned the word great void for all of us to do the plumbing down, deep. And afterwards, every time if he uses, probably the seriousness will be down. But easy way to remember him is Ram. Because Ram has been defined by him earlier. Probably he was not fully satisfied with that word. So he only in one place throughout his writings, only this place he has used the great word. So that much importance is there for great void. Though Ram and great void are one, but the moment we say great void, because we have only this thought as our vehicle, and that thought has already gathered or memorized so many things about void and fullness. So it is easy for the mind to travel deeper to understand the indwelling nature, all-pervading nature of the Almighty. Probably he would have used that word. We don't know. He has not explained everywhere. So we infer that. We were searching. Why did he bring the word? Then in Passage of Divinity, when Chandrasekhar Rao has mentioned that among the books he read, there was also Yoga Vasishtha. And when he prompted us to go through that, we found Lord Rama asked Vasishtha Maharshi, what is that? Tell me. Vasishtha was explaining so many things. All these things we have heard. Tell me, what is that? What is that? What is that? And at one time he said this, void. And because he was also reading Rite of Asia, Buddha Bhagavan's normal teachings, many people will know that Nirvana, Shunyata. Emptiness is fullness. So emptiness is also called void. But we would have got confused, but he added the word great void. And later on in Avaduta Gita, elaborately he mentions about the space. That gives us more and more clarity. Then we look at it, this very same hall gave us that clarity. There was no hall, it had no name and form till 2002 or 3. This building was there. Here there was a bridge. And later on, the concept of this hall came. So this roofing was done, wall was, and it got a name, Centenary Hall. It became clear. Even if tomorrow, God forbid, suppose the roof is taken and the wall is removed, the space does not get affected at all. Neither it is reduced, nor it is decreased, or nor it is increased. Somebody may be laughing or telling about what all he gained in this room. Somebody may be telling us or crying what all he lost. But still the space remains untouched, unaffected. So all this clarity, Papa gives us, oh, so I did that. Then we try to go back to Sthita Prajna state. So many definitions come. Then we try to understand, oh, it is that. Though every change is taking place, there is a changeless base in which the changes are taking place. So great void, the word, it makes us to go deeper and deeper and deeper into it. And then we come to know that is the source. But still we have to keep on. Mataji had used many a times this word, void, great void, in her satsang. At that time, nobody paid any attention. That is why yesterday we read out, when Mataji wanted all of us to go through 11 times in quest of God. She said that though we may not realize Papa, at least we would have started going within. The first sign, she says, we will have clarity about the Nirguna Tattva. I wanted you all to read it 11 times so that your mind would turn within to Nirguna Brahman. Great void, There is a special reason for Papa making me ask you to read In Quest of God daily for 11 days. It is intended to take you within. It is intended to take you within. Yes?
When he's using the term Ram, he's actually associating it with the mantra as well, isn't he?
When he associates?
He's associating it with the mantra also. When he's saying great void.
Great void. Actually, it can be interpreted like that, but first he brings the word meditation. Then to keep it up, chanting. If you go through the first chapter, it becomes very clear to us. First he was, thenceforward a part of the time that was formerly totally devoted to worldly affairs was taken up for meditation of Ram, who for that period gave him real peace and relief. Gradually love for Ram, the more Ramdas meditated on and uttered his name. So then we take it that to keep up meditation means, to him it is not sitting like this, going deeper and deeper into the indwelling reality, the source from where these words are now coming. That was going on, And to remember that, and that reality he named as Ram, and to remember that, chanting. So chanting helped him to remember him. Because first this foundation is there. So we are looking at ourselves. We have also been chanting for 3 decades or 4 decades or 5 decades or 6 decades. Why is it that we have not been able to get a glimpse of that reality? So then it becomes clearer to us. During that chanting time we all enjoy, but after the chanting time we are back to square one, because this in-depth plumbing deep within has not taken place, whose name I am chanting. Later on, Papa also shared that we should know while chanting that we are chanting the name of one who is inside and who is making me to chant. This is the meditative chanting. I am chanting the name of one who is within me and who is now making me to chant. When I slowly pump in this idea, he is making me to think, he is making me to see, he is making me to hear. All the sense organs are working because of him. Like that, slowly that revelation will take place. So that's why Papa gives us the clue that while chanting, not merely chanting, it should be meditative chanting. Meditated on. That word he uses in that first chapter 2-3 times. During the day when chaos and anxieties were besetting him due to monetary, so whenever free from worldly duties, be the period ever so small, he would meditate on Ram and utter his name. Meditation of Ram continued apace. And then Father comes and gives him the Rama mantra. So he had clarity on the word Ram, number one. Number two, the chanting was certainly not at the outer level. Initially, all of us will have the lip level chanting or emotional level chanting, sentimental level chanting, all those things we will. But at a deeper level, one has to ask oneself. And when we, because the litmus test, according to what Papa says, even after the chanting is over, whether we are in a position to retain that, Though chanting plays an important role in our sadhana, whether it is leading us, guiding us, taking us to the state where we become aware that he is making me to chant. That each one has to. So when he first used the word meditated and then chanted. So meditating on the reality is the foundation upon which chanting is built up. Because he says remembrance. And among all the other disciplines, viewing it from the easiness, chanting is the easy way. Because it doesn't require anything else, any place, any time. So that is why it is so relevant to us. But the real state of mind should be there while chanting. Otherwise it slips into an exercise in which we experience joy during that time, and after that my likes and dislikes, my preferences, my priorities, my rights and wrongs, my sense of insecurity, my cravings, my desires, my ambition, it all remain intact, So the remembrance, if the remembrance is there, it will remove all these things. So I become aware. So during the chanting, I am free from the routine thoughts, so I feel some joy. The moment I come out of the session, the sense of individuality becomes active in us, and then we are unable to maintain that which has been experienced during the chanting period. This is something on which we have to very seriously look within. Of course, chanting we should hold on to chanting, never stop. Only how to improve the mental background. Because that is the one on which we are all, that is our great prop, support. That is why every day, morning nowadays, we are trying for 15 minutes slow chanting and 15 minutes mental chanting. We are trying to become aware of the gap between the two words. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. The gap. And when we try for 15 minutes we try to mentally chant. Even if the entire chanting period is not fully concentrated, we will have some grip over it, which can be gradually expanded. Because Papa keeps on harping that mental chanting is far more efficacious. Yes, then anything else?
Fixed resolve. Fixed resolve, sustained faith.
He was very clear. Nobody told him. God made him to have the fixed resolve. That is, again, it was not that when he was passing through, he was blessed with getting clarity on the ideal to be scaled. And then when he took a resolve, he was very firm, not vacillating. We all do that, Today we hear so many lectures, so many books. There are something common in all that we forget. But at the superficial level, there are differences. And then we are guided we go along with it, and we don't get concentration. So in his case, he was very clear. Fixed resolve. Sustained faith in the words of the masters whom he had read. Optimistic outlook, it cannot go wrong, because when he is my originator, creator, protector and destroyer. When he is my originator, I owe my origin to him. What is there for me to say that it is not all right, negative or something? Always positive. Then he, for that self-denial and Satsang through Sadhyaya. All these points, we have to take within and place our life. Be a Sakshi, witness, and then start taking. 9 points are there. That is, we are trying to tally it with what is happening inside. And then we may find our own balance sheet. Then we try to improve wherever we can. Wherever we cannot, we can pray to him ardently. I would like to do, but the body is not cooperating. Why don't you please help me? The circumstances are not cooperating outside. Because I have not still come to the feeling that the circumstances are also you. You are testing me through the circumstance that I have not known. So please make me to adapt myself to any changing circumstances, taking it as ordained by you. Like that, we keep on going through it. We make a list, real, deep, and tally for ourselves to what extent we are trying to raise ourselves up to any of the points mentioned. Then only the first chapter comes to an end. So we pray to Him, you are giving us so many guidance, enable us to try these 9 points. I may not be able to remember all the 9 points, but something I will be able to remember. And then help me to actualize at least some of these. Lot of limitations are there, I can understand for myself, but kindly help me. Don't just make me to read, don't just make me to memorize, don't just make me to reproduce, but make me to see that something of it becomes a part of me. Let that prayer be from our heart. And even for that prayer, we have to pray to Him. Give me such a prayer. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.